Was a night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. When what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. He's going the distance, he's going for speed. She's all alone on Christmas Eve. Because he's racing and pacing and plotting the way. He's merry and laughing and riding on his sleigh. He's racing and pacing and plotting the way. He sees you when you're sleeping and he knows you're awake. He's going the distance, he's going for speed. He's going the distance.
Well, a very good evening to all of you wonderful world patriots out there. It is indeed Monday, December 22nd, 2025, and I wish you guys all out there a Merry Christmas, a Happy Good New Year, Happy Holidays, whatever you want to say, but we're allowed to say it, and we never stopped. I know Mac and Lisa never stopped either, and I'm sure most of you guys never stopped saying Merry Christmas either. But it is that time of the year. We're just 3 short days away from St. Nick there, and I thought that was a pretty funny one from Pat and Sean Kelly there that Mac had dropped earlier. Nice little rendition of these going for speed. So we do have episode 188 for you guys of Hold the Line, and my 2 wonderful co-hosts, Miss Lisa and Mr. Mac, are here. And what's up with you, Lisa? How's the UK going? I don't want to rub it in too much, but anyways, how's everything going over there?
How's the UK going? Oh, we're going to talk about that later. It's okay from a personal point of view, but as far as the UK's performance, that's all I'm going to say.
Alrighty then.
Make your own mind up, really.
Yes, right. Yeah, it's getting wild, and this week was building up, and then now we're getting some craziness, which we'll show in the show here, in addition to all the things that were going on last week. But Mr. Max, sir, how is it going with you today? How's the energy level? What's up?
Hey, what's going on? Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks to everybody that tunes in. Everything's going well. Looking forward to what we're going to be talking about in today's show. A lot of happenings been going on, and Trump just wrapped up a big announcement. So let's get to it. But thanks to the mods, thanks Space Shot as always, and as I said earlier, thanks to everyone that tunes in.
Yes, so he's going to be doing he's basically going to be doing a big fleet, right? And he called it, of course, the Golden. Was it the Golden Fleet or something like that? And he said it's going to have. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I was going to show, I'm going to show the NGO. I'm going to go into your NGO here thing in a second. But before we do that, we kind of one thing's leading to the next with me, and I'm seeing a few different weird things that are coming on here. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to. I think this is the one. Yeah. This is the one that I'm going to have to basically block the audio on. So I'll do my best Mariah Carey for you guys out there. All I want for Christmas is you, baby. All right, so that's the song. You guys know the song, All I Want for Christmas is You, right? And so if I hit this, I'll get a copyright strike from one of the places we're on here. But very interesting here. This was back on December 11th. Mac, I think you had dropped this, but I did not even see this dude at all. All Q wants for Christmas is you. Just weird, right? Like,
yeah, the
weird.
timing. I don't know. That's what
Right?
I said. Yeah, I had to share it.
Yeah, I thought it to be a little interesting. So I don't know if you saw that one, Lisa, but that was pretty crazy. And so I'm gonna have to give a little hat tip to my buddy Tron, who also found something else having to do with that. And so, Lisa, if you got anything, please jump on in. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I was just going to say there was one of the photographs from, dare I say it, the Epstein release. I don't know if anybody saw it, but there was basically a big Q. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was basically like on a piece of paper. It was a printed Q in bold type. That was it. That was all that was on the photograph. I couldn't read anything else. And I thought that was, I was just like, hold on a minute, what is going on there? I think I took some shots of it actually. I'll just try and dig it out. But anyway.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and so I dropped it to Tron, and I was like, dude, like, what are the odds on this? I said, Mac dropped this here, and he sent me back a little clippet of basically, Merriam-Webster here. There are other Q drops, of course, but one of them here says, enjoy the show. So I thought that was pretty interesting by itself. That it happens to be in there. And then there's also ones, drops regarding COVID and stuff like that. But I thought it was interesting with the enjoy your show part of that one anyway. But also continuing on, what else? Oh, here we go. So here's President Trump, a little bit of a speech that he made. What is it? I think he started it was supposed to be like 4:00 or whatever. It came out a little bit later, but let's listen to just a little bit of this and you'll see why in a second here. But he's building tremendous, beautiful, great, 100 times lethality, guys. 100 times, 100 times, 100 times. I think he said 100 times, about 100 times. So here we go.
As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others, but if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful.
So he kept repeating that over and over. Now, ladies and gentlemen out there, right? This is, in my humblest of opinions, I'm going to call myself out on a stretch, okay? Unless there's any timestamps that matched here, whatever. But essentially, he kept mentioning, 50 times, 100 times, and there's 3 posts that talk about 100 times. So if I was to put that in here, what you're going to see essentially is this post in there 3 different times attached to 3 other posts essentially, and it's talking about the whole thing. Read everything slowly. What they do not anticipate is POTUS to declass all due to optics and ARM, mainstream media foothold on the comms to paint a political attack and Russia investigation, cover up, and advance. We are here for a reason. We're here to unite the core, you. Why did POTUS name fake news as our biggest enemy? Because they are. Use logic. This will be a fight not through DC, and then we control in the parentheses, but with, and this is important, guys, but with public opinion once this jumps. And then we're talking about the missile fire over in Hawaii. 2 missile fires with a strategic purpose to extinguish. This is not a game. This is war. This is literally evil knocking. Will you answer? Will you fight? Will you defend? We will. We are. You elected us to take back our country. Old world. Enough is enough. Signed, our favorite letter. So I had a thought, Mac and Lisa, and it's not specifically with this post, but I was thinking about certain people who may be black-pilled out there, right? And they come out and they say, oh, well, Q said this, and they said this, and they said that. And, the only thing I really see was, Hillary being arrested on a certain date was the first post that we never saw publicly, right? But then I started to think a little bit more, like back to 2018 when I'm in April going, where the hell are the arrests? Like, what the hell? How very selfish of me. And I would think very selfish of a lot of people that are black pilled at this point. But the epiphany or thought that I had, guys, was that what if this was never, that was never the main focus, right? Like the original drops, those years were never the original focus when it was supposed to catch on years after, right? Like, did they expect everything to be kind of spread around in the first couple of years and then essentially everybody in the world was going to know about it? And I think this was obviously laid out to be a longer scenario, and we were given indications of that. Next, last 4 years, next 2 years, essentially. But Mac or Lisa, we'll go with Miss Lisa first. Anything you wanted to mention about any of the stuff there? The Webster Dictionary Q, the 50 times, 100 times, the whatever you want.
Yeah, Webster Dictionary. I think it was Merriam-Webster. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it Merriam-Webster that changed the definition of vaccines? And when the editor of the two longest established medical magazines, there's a British one, and then I think there's an international one. But basically, like say, both of them printed the story about COVID, and in the Q drops it says about COVID. Was it? They asked the question of whether COVID was about stealing the election, which we know that it was, and the Trump administration are just getting there now with Pete Navarro saying, "Oh well, Pfizer lied." You know what I mean? But we know that Pfizer lied like a few years ago, I noticed when you said ARM, and I was thinking, what does that stand for? Is that alt-right media and the mainstream media? And also what's going on with the Epstein files as well. Just see what I mean? Like, say the media lying, so they're desperate to try and I don't even know whether the Trump administration are playing with them or what's going on. But like say, certain stupid things keep happening. Like, oh, well, they took out these photographs and then they put them back, But, the mainstream media had already said, oh, well, it's because they're trying to keep Trump out of the Epstein files. But we know that so far there has been no evidence of Donald Trump being involved in the sordid side. Yes, in socialization, but so did the rest of Palm Beach and the billionaires. You know what I mean? They were just on the same social scene. But I just question, is that like trapping the media and the Democrats, because they're so hell-bent in trying to distract us from Billy Clinton and his involvement, So Bill Clinton's come out swinging, saying, "Oh, I want everything released," and it's like, "No, you don't, mate. No, you don't."
Careful what you wish for. But Lisa, and this is something kind of what Lisa's talking about here. It's like, oh my goodness, Jeffrey Epstein had a whole drawer of Donald Trump pictures, and he wrote, "That's the tweet." And my response was something like, okay, cool. Now show me the one where he's, getting a massage by a very young girl or anything along those lines. That's the tweet, right? So basically here we go. Now show me one where he's being massaged by a young girl or a real picture of Trump with a young girl. That's the tweet, right? And these people are they're horrible. It's like, oh my God, he had pictures of Trump in there. And, they tried their BS, Mac, with the, Hawaiian Tropics, the girls, and they were saying, oh, they were young girls, and they blocked their faces out, and it ended up, they were all over 18. They were, models that were at a show.
Yeah, first thing I saw. And because they've released them, we know that none of those girls were actually victims. Nice.
Oh, absolutely. So and
if their face were blocked out, then they're either a victim or they're in the current investigations that are ongoing. So a lot of people are trying to hide that, and they're treating people as they're dumb. I feel like unless they listen to the right people, and they just completely leave out the part that, you know, they're either a victim for being blacked out or redacted, or it's part of an ongoing investigation. And we all know that the Clinton Foundation is under a huge investigation that's ongoing for 10 years. So hold tight. I think we got some stuff coming. And like Lisa's saying, you know, the sordid part was what these people did kind of in their free time, which is really perverted, obviously. But think about their business ties, and we've talked about some of that before, and how much bigger that could be in a criminal sense, and how it's going to tie into everything, the elections, and, you know, child trafficking, and rigging just everything. Free money from the government.
Yeah, they seem to miss out. You know, like we know from the horse's mouth, Wolf, that journalist, you know, or the writer, that, you know, and also from interviews with Epstein, and also his own emails, that he was out to get Trump because he believed that Trump shopped him to the feds. Yes? So they keep leaving that bit out, you know, about Epstein, who had this rivalry. But I think his rivalry was, we know that Epstein was a social climber. We know that his job was blackmail. I think we know that he was an intelligence asset. Yes, either way that you look at it. But none of these things seem to be mentioned anymore. Yes? So there's got to be a reason that they're leaving all of that out. Fake news media. Yeah.
I love it.
Trump did mention today in the interview that he doesn't like the fact that they're releasing all these photos of Clinton and some other people. I think Trump is really trying to play neutral on this. Their Morning Joe did have a little spin on it. They admitted that Trump's not on the Epstein list. I put the link in the bottom. But then they spin it to something else, like, but why is he holding back the files? So it's like, yeah, everything about this is the fake news media is got to admit at some point that they lied. I'm assuming that's going to be the end goal here. I don't know.
and a number of the fake news media are in the Epstein files as well. Let's not forget that. You know, some long established people, and there was another guy that turned up like yesterday or the day before, you know, and he's current and well established, kind of journalist, reporter, whatever you want to call it. But you know, I should think that there's probably more to it than what we're seeing, you know? Yeah. I just don't think we can get past it. But the thing is, they are just basically spinning on a dime with all of this, because they're just not. It's like, well, hold on a minute, your people are in there. You know, your people have more visits than anybody else. Your people were actual, you know, like I don't know what they were doing, but you know, they're pictured with young girls. You know, anyway.
Big time young girls. All right, let's play this one, and then we'll show some more hypocrisy. And this is the happy married couple. I'm just taking a bet on like which one's gonna blow, you know, their own brains out first for having to be married to the other one. But let's see.
One of the great mysteries to me and a lot of other people is we've had reporting for some time. Donald Trump is not on Epstein's list. There's nothing in there that's really damning about Donald Trump, and as Susie Wild says, not damning about Donald Trump,
according to the chief,
or Bill Clinton. So one of the great mysteries all along in this, not been like, what's Donald Trump hiding? What did he do? Like, why, if he's not in these files, which all the reporting says he's not, why is he so obsessed on blocking access to the files? Is he trying to protect somebody?
No, you got to the actual heart of the question, and it's actually not been reported. One of the reasons Marjorie Taylor Greene got on board with Massey and my effort is she fundamentally believed that Trump was not implicated.
Yeah.
And she would call the president and say, look, just get these out. I don't know why you're not getting it out. And she would tell Massey and me, of course he's going to come around. And every press conference we had, we never made it about Donald Trump. We made it about the survivors. The survivors pleaded with Donald Trump. You can be a hero. No previous president has done this. Release the files. And what people are asking, and frankly, even I'm asking, is what are they hiding? Why is it that they're not releasing the draft 60-count indictment when they only charged Epstein with 2 counts? Why aren't they releasing the 82-page prosecution memo of all the implications he had with rich and powerful folks? Why are they protecting this Epstein class? And why aren't they releasing the FBI interviews? Every time they do one of these things of concealing, they're just raising further doubt.
So one has to keep in mind that, this thing with Epstein and the sweetheart deal from the 60 count to the 2 count had exactly 0 to do with President Trump or his administration. I would almost, I don't want to say anybody in his administration, because I think that dude Acosta is probably somewhere in there. But yeah, this is ridiculous. It's just like they did last couple of weeks ago, right, Lisa, with the seditious 6. Oh, you don't need to follow illegal orders. Oh, Miss Slotkin, do you have any illegal orders that President Trump has been? Well, no, nothing. But there's legal gymnastics, and Ro Khanna saying essentially that. No, I never made this about Trump. Okay, and look at the daggers for eyes, and she couldn't shut up the whole time. She had to add in her little thing. That is the look of a woman who hates her husband. But Lisa, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought she was auditioning for 47 Ronin or something.
Looks could kill.
But anyway, what was I going to say? Remember Acosta's answer to why he was given the sweetheart deal was that he was told that Epstein was an asset. So he needed to tread lightly. Remember, he said that when he was interviewed regarding Epstein, and that is more recently, he admitted to that. And as I said, it's like one thing that they're not saying is that Epstein was an asset. And if he was an asset working with Mossad, remember there's a picture of him and he's got the IDF sweatshirt, yes?
Oh, yeah.
And also a uniform as well. I think the uniform was from a party that he went to, could have been in England with Weinstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And there was Epstein, and there's a Q post, and it says Songbird. Remember?
Yes.
So I think that uniform was from that picture, but the IDF sweatshirt, where he got that from, I don't know. But if he was an IDF sweatshirt, remember that Mossad are the foremost, I would say, intelligence surveillance agency in the world, because they are the best at surveillance, so gathering evidence. And if they're the best, and America provides their security, let's say, then why wouldn't, and then Mossad being, tied to MI6, who set up Israel, kind of thing, Britain, so why wouldn't somebody like the CIA work with Mossad? Because they probably do. I think, Mossad probably give the America more intelligence than anybody else. They're brilliant at surveillance. You can't, I don't think you can doubt that. I don't think there is another agency that's as good as them at surveillance, hence having such a setup for blackmail, that was perfect. It ensnared a lot of people. And wouldn't you give a dinner and then, put the carrot right in front of you? You just watch that video and there's a dinner and all of the girls are walking by. He's probably thinking, who can I snare today?
No, exactly. Exactly.
And what can we make them do? Yes.
And we getting pictures like this all the time, Mac. We've
Hey,
seen this numerous times. And let me just get this one out of the way real quick, Mac, because I think this is important too. And I think anybody that's listening to this, because I had a person who I'm working on. He's definitely a Democrat, but he's starting to see the light. And so he's like, yeah, well, what's up with all this Epstein stuff? And I said, so what you guys need to do is make sure of your timelines here. Remember, 2006, 2008, 2009 is when Epstein got, quote, arrested, whatever you want to say happened. I said, Trump had dealings with this guy. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for good. And also, remember, a lot of these people, while they keep wanting to say, oh, Trump, 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 they failed to bring up the numerous people, Democrats probably and Republicans too, but the numerous people who continued to meet with him knowing that he had been arrested. And then I played him the Melinda Gates video where she said, I didn't like that he had met and continued to meet with Epstein after this. So the timeline on this is very important that everybody understands. Like he was, buddy over there. He was a rich guy and Trump had all the rich friends, of course, right? But when he kicked him out of the place, then he became Epstein's enemy. And then we see all this other stuff. And then I showed him the ridiculousness of Stacey Plaskett texting back and forth during a hearing, right? So sorry if I sidetracked you there, Mac, but we get pictures like this left and right, but nobody seems to care about anybody else other than Trump. That's all they care about now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mean, pictures are great and all. We need damning information, and then we need investigations. We need everything to occur in that way, shape, or form. So, I guess Bill Clinton's lawyer, released, as Lisa said, a statement saying release it all. They can't prove anything, I guess is what they're saying, but they're currently under investigation. So I don't know.
And
Go ahead.
they're saying release it all, knowing full well that they can't release it all.
Yeah.
Legally. Yes, because, I think, I can't remember which judge it was, but they said, yeah, release it all. But there was a caveat, as in anybody that needs protecting or any victims, they've got to listen to them. And if they say anything or want anything done, they have to abide by their wishes. Just like in other court cases,
So one thing about the Epstein thing, I came across some information. I guess it's been going around for some time. Was Epstein involved in negotiating some sort of airline contract for the Iran-Contra deal?
Oof.
Situation?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. I talked about that.
Really?
He was heavily involved in Iran-Contra, and nobody wants to mention it because it was in, Reagan times, and Reagan was involved. So that's why they don't speak about it. But it's absolutely obvious. I can't remember his name. Was it Abby something? But anyway, there was a guy involved, and there's a whole. If you check out 8Q you'll find a video, and you'll hear this guy talking about Epstein and dealing arms. And remember that his first client for his consultancy was Adnan Khashoggi, the biggest arms dealer in the world. Yes. And was it Adnan Khashoggi's son that was found all cut up? And
it was his nephew.
So him, right? So they don't talk about the fact that I remember absolutely for a long time they said that MBS was involved in it, and he ordered it, and then they actually apologized because they found out that it was like the Saudi Secret Service. There was somebody involved there, and I think they might have arrested somebody in Paris or something like that. And then they apologized to Adnan Khashoggi, to MBS. But prior to that, they'd put the finger on him. But they apologized for that afterwards, a long time afterwards, maybe years afterwards. So just think about that. And then Epstein and Ghislaine, their way in to Mossad was through arms dealing. Yeah. And remember Ghislaine's dad and all of that kind of thing. You know, the British let him get away with stealing all the pension funds, about 600 million. Epstein did a similar thing. He was, I can't remember the name of the guy, but he was in business with a British guy, and same thing happened. It was a big Ponzi scheme. It was the biggest Ponzi scheme before Bernie Madoff. There was only Bernie Madoff that topped it, and a lot of money went missing. You know, 600 million, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, 600 million of pension funds he got away with. The British government actually paid it off. They didn't even look into it, you know, when he supposedly disappeared off the side of a boat. How convenient.
It was Ehud Barak with Israel, Lisa.
Doubt it.
I
It's
think there was
crazy.
somebody else as well, Mike. It's in Wikipedia.
And
then
do-
don't forget about, we haven't talked about this in a while, Lisa, his like for eugenics, his affinity for eugenics, and the possibility of him putting his DNA in vaccines and so forth. There was documents that they've come across, I believe.
Well, it was the fact that he wanted to repopulate the world with his sperm, and in his ranch in New Mexico, it was. I think they were working in conjunction with Nexium, and Nexium had a nursery.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
never
I
mentioned
mean-
his other locations too, New York, New Mexico, like, and we've all heard that it was like a child farm, like you said. So
Yeah, and John Roberts giving the only license for Epstein and Ghislaine to sell ayahuasca. Excuse me?
What?
Yeah, absolutely. And remembering that ayahuasca, they were you know, like it was to do with transhumanism, because when people take ayahuasca, it's easy to kind of infiltrate the mind, you know. And remember, it's all about control. But absolutely, absolutely. And the license was granted by Chief Justice Roberts. And it's the only one to be granted in North America.
That is crazy.
So what is really going on, people? You know, like if you think there's a cover up, you know, it's like, oh, well, this is it. Look at the dealings that he had, and as you said earlier, Space Shot, you know, all of the people that were fraternizing with the guy after he was charged as a pedo, you know. So what are they talking about? And there was so many people, a ridiculous amount of people, you know. Anybody think that? Does anybody, you know, anybody looked at the inside of Epstein's Albany in New York? You know, like his mansion. Anybody think there's anything? I don't know. It was when I look at the pictures, the decor and all of that. It's like anybody go in there. There were pictures of all kinds of things on the walls. Yes, in almost every room. So how could anybody not know what this guy was into? Yeah, and the amount of people that had meetings at that particular place. You know, they don't mention Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. You know, there's loads of people that they're not mentioning that are connected with Epstein, and also Nexium when it comes to her, and also the Clintons.
Go ahead, Lisa.
What?
You can finish your thought. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, you know, I'm remembering that he was involved in the initiation of the Clinton Foundation.
Because remember, he was the tax expert, right? And that's what everybody was touting him as. Oh, he knows the taxes better than everybody. And who needs to know that, laws? Yep, those charities for the Clintons. And you know, as you were talking, Lisa, I pulled this one up here. So this was the actual quote too. And as you were saying it, I remember the quote being, quote, "He's with intelligence, leave him alone." So it basically said, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Alexander Acosta, who handled Epstein's case, said when he was being interviewed to join President Trump's administration in his first term, quote, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence to leave it alone, and then Attorney Acosta was hired by the White House. Should be noted that Epstein was intimately involved with defrauding, da, da, da. Of course, this is like, they're trying to go after him. But it also mentions in the 1980s, the Iran-Contra affair, Epstein helped a man named Khashoggi, just some guy named Khashoggi, transfer U.S. weapons systems from Israel to Iran. There are plenty more nefarious money-related activities, but this article doesn't need to be a bullet point list. And remember, we were hearing that he had, if it was a plane, or I think it was a plane, not a helicopter, that he had the same tail number as like a U.S. military aircraft, which would allow him essentially to come in and out of the areas he wanted to unmolested or unchecked, right? And so if he's bringing girls or if he's bringing drugs or whatever, then yeah, that'd be a lot easier for him, right? And
wasn't it Bill Clinton that basically gave nuclear technology to Iran? It was something like Operation Merlin or something like that. So he, under the guise of providing, they found and paid a Russian scientist, nuclear scientist, to provide blueprints for Iran that was supposed to have a mistake in there. So Iran found the mistake, corrected the mistake, and therefore they had the technology. And Bill Clinton, wasn't involved in wanting to give secrets to China. So what is going? Do you see what I mean? It's a sordid web, if you ask me. That's the way that I see it, an absolutely sordid web. And I still maintain that I think, not to say that it isn't a thing, but the underage women, of course that happened, but I still think that that's a distraction from these larger events or things with massive implications on the global stage. Yeah? Because that's what we're focusing on. And I'm not saying it's not important, but there's all kinds of other things going on around Epstein, and the fact that he was moving money for people around the world. So under the guise of a tax expert. So what did Bill Gates say? Oh, he was consulting for me, rocking back and forth, on philanthropy, and I was going to him for money. Bill, aren't you rich? And richer than Epstein. Did you see that? None of it makes sense. And then, they post pictures and they show Richard Branson with Epstein, and the caption says, oh, what about Trump? Exactly. No mention of Richard Branson's name.
It's always about Orange Man Bad. And I'm going to get to this here in a second, but I just went over and noticed the chat, and thank you very much to my brother Red Pill who rated us. I looked over, we had like 400 people. I looked back, we had like 1,500. So thank you for those of you who are jumping in. And also thank you to Bliss M for the $20 Rumble rant that says Merry Christmas. I appreciate that one. And the other one is from G Quick, another $20 Rumble rant, says Merry Christmas from the Rambo crew. Booms. And guys, this is what, and so thank you very much for that. And thank you Red Pill and you as well. But this is, I was looking for the video as you guys were talking, and because you were talking about how good of intelligence the Israelis are, right? And it's not disputed. They world renowned for that stuff, right? And so I remember hearing about a story, and I think it was a Secret Service agent years ago, talking about how he was in a hotel room and basically doing his rounds, and he saw an Israeli spy fall out of his vent in the AC, and basically, he turned around, the guy jumped back in the vent, and that was it. But I was surprised to see the Times of Israel, which must be anti-Israel, but it says, according to a former senior U.S. intelligence agent who spoke to Newsweek, when Al Gore was vice president, a surprise guest was hiding in an air duct in his hotel room during a trip to Israel 16 years ago, an alleged Israeli spy. Source detailed how after Secret Service agents swept the room, clearing it, one of the men stayed behind for a private bathroom moment before Gore was to arrive when he heard a sound. So the room was all quiet. He was just meditating on his toes. I guess that's code word for using the bathroom maybe. And he hears a noise in the vent, and then he sees the vent clips being moved from the inside. And then he sees a guy starting to exit the vent into the room, the former operative told Newsweek. Adding, Secret Service agent did not scramble for his gun. He kind of coughed, and the guy went back into the vents. So, hey, remember, they're our number one allies, guys, right? Number one allies. Oh, wait, that's you guys, right? You, Lisa? Wait, they're all against us. No, they're all against us.
No.
You're all against us, aren't you? So, yeah, we left that country a couple hundred years ago, and in my opinion, they are behind a lot of this, which is, and it's been example with facts too, right, Lisa? I mean, the Crossfire Hurricane, all the stuff right up to BC HQ from the top. Like, they've been getting help from the UK to essentially take out Trump since the very beginning. So, all right, and if we're all good with Israel for now on this part of it, and great point about Khashoggi too. And, you know, that poor guy, you know, they just killed this guy and he was just such a sweetheart. And okay. Did you guys want to get into at all talking about...
there's one little point I'll make is at the same time, and you got to think about the kind of like the royal family, you know, the UK and everything, and how Andrew's involved and those connections, and how Trump at the same times, you know, he's taking their agenda, like the New World Order agenda. I don't want to just say it's the UK, but the old world wants that New World Order, and he's cutting them off financially. So I think their ability to fight, you know, the information war is becoming less potent, and we're seeing that with a lot of the channels. So that I think is also going on at the same time. So when the truth does drop, a lot of people aren't going to believe the fake news if they're still around.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And Lisa, let me throw you one here, right? Is maybe, and I don't know, you know, maybe this is what they're doing, but if President Trump was indeed a cooperating witness, right? And we know Bradley Edwards, who was the attorney for the victims, who said essentially when he picked up his phone, the only person to answer was President Trump, and he gave us information that was actually helpful. So I wonder if any of that's inside of all these files, and they're trying to go around that, and maybe even redacting some of that stuff so the wider public doesn't get it. I just see this whole thing as a big blinking light to wake up the normies, because they're throwing this out in such a way to do so. That's what my personal belief is.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to get Trump or someone to slip up, and they're not telling us the whole truth.
And regardless, anything that's under the umbrella of national security would be redacted, because it always is with public court cases, isn't it? You know, in every case, you know, like they can just go, oh, it's national security, and you're not going to get any details.
True.
And
Very,
only
very
the courts, is it the Supreme Court or whatever? You know, they get some detail, but they don't get all detail because it's national security, something like that.
Very, very true. And this one, guys, this is. Oh, go ahead, Lisa. If you want to finish.
I was just going to say, you know, you mentioned Britain, Europe, and Mike. You said about, you know, you know, why are they targeting Trump? Well, you know, maybe the fact that one, he's competition, you know, for the New World Order or the Order, and then two, you know, maybe they always knew about Trump being an insider, let's say.
Very, very
maybe
possible.
They always knew, you know, because that would have been before Crossfire Hurricane, you know, and how are they? So Epstein hasn't managed to get Trump involved with the blackmail, you know. So maybe they now try something else, which was Russia. Because didn't it say somewhere in the Epstein files about Epstein having some kind of backdoor to Russia. I don't know if it was directly to Putin or anything like that, but certainly without a doubt, it seems that, they give us the impression that they hate Russia, but at the same time, they work with Russia, and they kind of have to. And I just one thing that I definitely want to say is I don't know whether it was last week or the week before, and I said about the EU committing suicide with accessing or appropriating the money that they had withheld from Russia, about 103 billion. Let me tell you, the suicide has been committed. So I want to talk about that a little bit later. The suicide has definitely been committed. Let me tell you, some amazing things are going on in the financial world. They have cut their own throats.
They're done, and they're still, they're still looking for funding. And then you have certain people over there that are still trying to push it through. And I think it's Poland's president's like, no way, it's not happening. And yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's happened because apparently they've been taking the interest on Russia's sovereign funds that are held at Euroclear, which is like a bank that holds money from all over the world. But apparently 51% of Euroclear's profit, Euroclear is based in Belgium, comes from Russian money. So they've been using the interest, which is about, I think something that's over 2 billion a year. They've been using that already. They've allocated a loan to the Ukraine, which means they've taken Russian money. Russia didn't react at first. Putin gave that speech, and then he nationalized all European companies in Russia. BP, Societe Generale, BMW, all of these huge companies that have invested billions in Russia, and it totals about 123 billion. He's also taking them to court. Yes? And what has also happened is that, Euroclear was like this holding company where you can put holding accounts, and people put a lot of money in those accounts when they're doing transactions. And so now they've broken the trust in the European financial system, because why would you keep your money there if they're just going to take it like they did with Russia? So everybody's pulling their money out. The Saudis are pulling their money out. The whole of BRICS are pulling their money out. China have offered them an alternative, because actually your money is safe in China and it's not in Europe because of what they've done. So the BRICS have set up the equivalent of the IMF, so a big fund for anybody that's nervous or concerned about money or getting anything, or even their assets in the EU. Lots of people are pulling out investments. They have cut their throats, honestly. It's the worst thing that they could have done. They've completely destroyed themselves, because the one thing that was trusted in Europe was the financial system, not anymore. And huge companies with a lot of money, they won't be doing it. And then also the other thing that Russia did was say, okay, we're not going to cancel your fuel contracts, but you're going to pay us in rubles. So it means that they've got to take their euros, buy rubles from a Russian bank, or yuan from a Chinese bank, which costs them more, because obviously there's a commission in that, the conversion of the currency, and then they can. That's the only way that they can pay for the existing contracts that they've got. Let me tell you, I think that is one smart move by Russia, and Russia does not lose out. It's amazing. I'm telling you, amazing.
So we're now seeing the enemy, how the enemy's being surrounded.
And they're doing it to themselves as well. They've got to pay the contracts, because you see the
Did you see the farmers in the EU? They're doing again. Oh, sure, we'll get to that. But go ahead, Lisa.
I was just going to say that, like, say, they get very cheap gas from Russia. So if they don't buy their gas from Russia, up goes inflation, because we know that fuel, when that goes up, everything goes up because everything needs fuel. See what I mean? So they've really, really done a great job in committing suicide, and they haven't got the money to pay it back. And how can I wonder how the courts cannot hold them accountable, because this affects the whole wide world. Do you see what I mean? If they don't hold them accountable, the financial system is completely gone. Gone. Because anybody can steal anybody else's money. Yes? So I just think it's an amazing move by Russia. Like, well, all I can say is well played. Yeah. Round of applause. Really. And also notice how the media are not talking about it. This is huge, guys. This is huge. How long has the financial system been in place? Like, I don't know, since the 1940s, So what they're doing, they're undermining the world currencies, which is the euro and the US dollar. Yep. Because now the big trades are being done in other currencies. And Saudi Arabia are investing in BRICS, their equivalent of the IMF, like a development fund, and all these other countries as well. Because guess what? They've got to, because they can't trust Europe. So if you don't agree with Europe's politics, then maybe they'll take your sovereign funds.
I was looking my search because of what Mac was saying. I was looking for water versus feces or water versus crap, but apparently there was a water. They have the water cannons to move the protesters away. They had one of these things sprouting the crap the other day, and then a water one on the other side trying to go against it. But yeah, the farmers, I guess, needless to say, Mac, are not happy over there. But yeah, what Russia did too to basically insulate itself from the world was genius too, right? Like all those sanctions or whatever, they didn't hurt them at all. They were solid the whole way through. And actually, those sanctions hurt us and everybody else.
The sanctions pushed Russia in the opposite direction to go and do deals with Asia. Yeah. So now there's like this block, China, Russia, India. There's a block that you can do business with, good business, and it wasn't there before, and now they've solidified it, And not long ago, Europe was talking about, oh, well, we won't do business with, Canada. We won't do business with America. We'll just do it direct with China. Like, oh, will ya? You're a British colony. You know what I mean? You might as well be part of Europe, because they were all in favor of Europe taking this money from Russia.
I think, at this point, essentially, it's another way of saying they're out of options, right? I mean, you can only, smash that piggy bank open, and then once one piggy bank's empty, and then you go to the other piggy banks, and they're pretty much on their last leg as it stands right now. So,
yeah, and one other thing on this. Go on, Mac.
Well, we know that. Q's always said that, China and Russia, what if they're working in the background?
Yes.
Well, Trump announced today that BRICS is essentially done because Trump's used tariff to protect the dollar, and that's what he's announced that he wanted to do. So he is controlling, the world market, and he's making deals with all these countries, Latin America. He's making tons of connections. Everybody but these EU countries that won't do business. It seems like they don't like Trump or whatever they're doing shady. So they're, like you said, they're all just doing it to themselves essentially, and it's fantastic because we now have new relationships. I'm almost 100% positive that we'll have, because Trump bought all of these icebreakers, we're going to have transport to like Greenland, because he said that we have to have Greenland because of national security today, which is fantastic. And then we would be able to trade also with Russia, and that's opened up a whole new avenue of just a world economy that's like independent from just a one world order. It's independent of each other, but they rely on each other to function, and it's going to be fantastic.
But the thing is, well, you see, on the surface, they present Russia as the boogeyman. But I just told you, listed about 3 or 4 different large European companies that still do business with Russia. So what are they? Did you see what I mean? Like, look at the narrative they've been selling us. Oh, well, you got sanctions, and it's like BMW have built a big plant in Russia, right? Societe Generale have a bank in Russia. Now they didn't stop trading. So what are they talking about sanctions? To me, I mean, it feels like we're just being sold a narrative yet again. Because if Putin nationalized all of those companies, then they must have been trading or had assets in Russia. So what do the sanctions mean then? See what I mean?
Not much.
Am I going crazy or something?
No, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's the whole world is a stage. The world is waking up to it. The world is watching. I'm just looking. The world is what we make it. The world is waking up, and all from the tops. The world is.
And why do they want Russia? Because Russia's got a lot of resources. Russia is a huge country, and it's resource rich. And part of the deal with the planned deal with the Ukraine peace deal was that America does business with Russia. Who else wanted to do business with Russia? Was it Kennedy? Yeah. I just think, why not? And have peace at the same time, please.
Take the boogeyman away, and imagine that we're all working together, Lisa. Like, what a different world that could be.
Yeah, and then like Europe just doesn't have any money, and by the way, it doesn't have any arms. And also, if it was to try and protect itself, it could probably last, I would say, a maximum a week. That's how much resources they've got. Really, really.
Wow.
Just don't forget, half of these, the arms that they're promising to Ukraine, it's like, one, it means that they don't have it, but how long does it take to get these things together? You can't build a warship in like 6 months. It takes a lot longer than that, guys. Russia have been racking up all of the time that they've been at war, the special operations with the Ukraine. They've been boosting their manufacturing. Yes? And when Ukraine bombed one of their places where they stored some weaponry, whatever it is, then they decided to distribute it, have it in different places. So it's now more difficult. And they're very much, I would say, we call it long in the tooth. They're experienced at this modern warfare. Who else is?
True.
Nobody? Anybody else in the world experienced at this modern warfare with this new tech? No, but Mike, when have they used it? They haven't.
Yeah, we weren't
in
able
war.
to bring out the good stuff.
yeah, let's be absolutely honest here. They haven't really used it.
Well,
Russia
not in
has.
action, but we've got it.
No, but the thing is, it's like it's about experience when it comes to war, and they're now battle hardened in modern warfare.
Ooh.
That's what I think.
Well, Lisa,
I know you're both American and all of that, but at the same time, let's be very realistic. They've been practicing this over the last few years. Is it 3 years since 2022? And also, don't forget, Russia have been holding back. But I think they're building up their armory in the background. Yes? So why bother stopping? Because they're going to have that. They've got the manufacturing capability, and they can rely on North Korea, and they can rely on China, and they can rely on Iran. Think about this, guys. There's a bigger game going on here.
big time different. Yeah, and they could have mopped up Ukraine in short order. However, they went out of their way to do this, special military operation, which remember was denazifying the area, right? And so they did it surgically, where they could have made a lot more booms and done it a lot more quickly. This is not really a huge story, but for any gamers out there, I know Mr. Swickley is one of the big
Call of Duty.
one of the big weeks. You mentioned World at War, and I was like, oh, Call of Duty. Multi-millionaire creator of Call of Duty, Vince Zampella, killed in a car crash. So, nothing for us related, but I know some of us game, and that I am one of them. And so
48-hour wait.
Right?
And by the way, one last thing on Russia-Ukraine. Don't forget that Ukraine bombed a civilian ship more recently. A civilian ship. Yes? So it's obvious that originally Russia were avoiding civilian casualties. And then remember that Ukraine wanted these long-range missiles that would hit Russia domestically. Yes? And Britain and everybody else was going, yeah, let's give it to them and all of that. So, that to me is overstepping the mark, really, because they're not aiming at soldiers. Yes? You expect it with soldiers. That's what they're there for. But to deliberately target civilians, that one is crossing the line. For me, I don't know about anybody else, but you know what I mean? Somebody's on a cruise ship or whatever, and suddenly you get bombed. Like, come on. These people aren't part of the war. They didn't need to do that. Go for a proper Russian target, yes, military-wise, but not civilians. And not many people are saying much about that, yes? So what do you think Russia are going to do about that?
True. It's just an inhumane thing to do. Civilians, 100%, and they're screwed. We even Ardoc is who has been very cautious about this, is saying essentially the same, that they're done and they're funding. Good luck. And remember, we had a guy that was on YouTube of all places, and amazingly, I'm looking it up now, and he has close to 1 million followers, and he's there. Patrick Lancaster. You guys can go watch his own videos. And if anybody doubts what Lisa was just saying, you can find videos of like the Donetsk area, the Donbass, where he's talking to Ukrainian civilians and saying, no, that hole in the building right there, that was the Ukrainian tank that did that. Turned around and shot their own people up. So, yes, they are absolutely savages. And then, of course, they say, oh, well, Russia did it. So keep that in mind. And so... also, guys, another thing, in my opinion, is the world is a stage. Here's a very good example, and somebody put this together in a short little 30-second video. Here we go. World is a stage.
Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't.
And what do you think about for young men? For young men. And for young men, don't be new scum. Yes, see, dear young men, you have...
Oh, where do we
Minaj,
start?
Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki
So Charlie came out. You can hear him right here.
Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't.
So, September, October, November, December. All right, 3 months after her husband is murdered, or let's just say the incident happened. And then now you fast forward 3 months after that, and here she is on stage with Nicki Minaj of all people. This is getting extra juicy. And guys, I don't know if you saw or heard this, but apparently Candace met with Erica last week, and then the next day she unloads all this stuff about the guy that she interviewed, saying, and so take this for what it's worth, it's a guy that she brought on her show saying that he saw Erica Kirk at Fort Huachuca the day before Charlie was killed with other people from TPUSA. So all that stuff aside, Mac, we'll go with you first on this one. Just the pyrotechnics they were having. Apparently, they recreated the booth that Charlie was shot in, essentially, and show people there. You can take a selfie there now. But I think we were all pretty cautious about this, and we were kind of all looking at this crooked since the very beginning, right? Any thoughts on anything I put out so far?
I just really stopped paying attention to that. I listened to a couple of the speeches of like Tulsi Gabbard and Vice President Vance, and a couple others, but it was outside of that. It was like infighting about pointing fingers about Charlie's death, and they're exposing themselves. To be honest with you, is motivated by something other than Charlie. I feel like it just
right.
I get it. They want to capture the moment and the momentum, but there is a lot of question marks, and it just. I did a little digging today. I think Mr. Linwood, Mr. Linwood posted something, and it was kind of like a Q post, but
that's right.
He said he pointed out Turning Point USA, Tyler Boyer, Super Feed Me app, and then Ukraine. And there's a direct connection line between all this, and I just touched the surface, and you have to scroll up, I think.
Yeah, I think you dropped the images picture, right, of the screenshots of the thing that right here we go. Tyler Bowyer. You want me to read this?
Yeah,
or a little bit of it?
You can do whatever you want, my man. It just raises some questions.
All right, so Tyler Bowyer and Superfeed app ties to Ukraine. Tyler Bowyer is the chief or the COO of Turning Point Action, a key role within the TPUSA ecosystem. He's been the central figure in the organization's operations since at least 2017, overseeing campus outreach, event logistics, and strategic growth. He is also linked to Superfeed Technologies, where he serves as CEO and chairman of the board. The Superfeed app, originally known as Feed Me, is a voter turnout and news aggregation platform used by Republican operations in multiple swing states, including Arizona, Wisconsin, closely tied to Turning Point USA's mobilization strategy. Notably, the app was developed by Ncube, a software firm based in Kiev, Ukraine. Despite Turning Point leaders like Charlie Kirk criticizing U.S. aid to Ukraine as supporting, quote, a profoundly corrupt government, the app central to their 2024 GOP mobilization was built and partially maintained by Ukrainian developers. LinkedIn profiles and Ncube's website confirm that several Superfeed employees are based in Ukraine, holding roles such as lead mobile developer, front-end whatever, QA engineer. Partnership between Superfeed and Ncube dates back to at least 2018. So interesting. And yeah, it's just a lot of really odd things. And I thought the timing of everything was super weird when she was like, oh, I'm going to go meet. They said she was going to meet or whatever. Then they met covertly. And then the next day he comes out and says, oh, yeah, we agree about more things than you would think. And then she has this guy come on, which it does not look good at all. But for me, guys, it's a big blinking neon light. Like, look at this. Look over here. Look over here. Look over here. And we are seeing what looks like to be clear deception, because apparently She never drank, she never partied, she never dated anybody. But that's not true either, is it, Lisa? Anything you want to add for this crap show as I pull up another supporting documents?
Hey, show that Linwood post though if you get a chance, just so the vision. It just remind me of a Q post. Good.
Oh, right here.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he posted out Turning Point USA, Tyler Boyer, Super Feed Me app, Ukraine. Do the research, connect the dots. Let me know what you conclude.
Well, I'm going to connect a few dots here that are just kind of connected like a daisy chain in my head. So I was going, okay, so you've got that company, Mike. What's it called? The technology company, Tyler Boyer, or whatever his name is. What was it called? N-Cube?
N-Cube is the original, I think, developer of the
Superfeed
app.
All right, so where else did we have this connection with the Ukraine? Well, CrowdStrike and the election 2020. Remember that? That's in the Q post as well. And then, so we get Ukrainians, and we get the Ukrainians, a lot of them are Jewish, which gets you your connection with Israel and also the Khazarians. Yes. And then we had the celebration for Charlie Kirk. Some people called it a memorial, where we know that the phone numbers were collected. And at the time, we didn't know which, or at the TPUSA events, we know that all mobiles were the data was collected, and we didn't know what company it was, but now we do know. You see what I mean? And then we have, back to the Ukraine. Let's bring it all full circle. You've got, say, Biden being the representative who was blackmailing the Ukraine, who changed the legal system, who stopped the investigation into Hunter Biden and Burisma. And we've got the connection with Alpha Bank, and also with, is it Kolomoisky? This very rich gentleman who owns all the media. And then you've got the connection with the Nazis and the Azov battalion, who have infiltrated, let's call it law and military enforcement in the Ukraine. That's a lot.
That's a pretty good job. That's a pretty good job, though.
Okay. Well, what you said was just, I said, like a daisy chain in my head. I was like, hold on a minute.
I got there. I went to the Khazarian part, and then it was just like, well, how are we going to present that one? Thanks, Lisa.
And then remembering that the Khazarians are, let's say, the Zionists. Yes?
Yeah.
I think. Somebody in the chat can maybe put me right on that. And remember, the Khazarians have always had a problem with Russia, because Russia were the ones that basically brought them up. They had the Khazarian Empire, let's say, which was the Ukraine. Ooh. And then we have Nat Rothschild a couple of years ago saying, if we lose the Ukraine, Nat Rothschild of the Rothschild dynasty. I think we got a nice little nest there.
And who invaded Kazakhstan?
The Ruskies.
Yep,
Kazakhstan. Getting the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. All right, guys. So I wasn't sure. I always, and thank you for whoever made this video, Canadian Newscast. So just really quick, I don't mean to change the subject, because I was actually looking to verify this post right here. Apparently, this is the guy that Erica was dating before she was, remember when she said she wasn't dating for like 5 years and she didn't drink? Well, yeah, she drank plenty and she dated plenty. And this is even the guy. And there's another post where he posts a picture of them two where they painted something together, and he wrote, "Yes, we are that couple that goes to art lessons together," or something like that. So my question, I was asking, to try to find the original post on this one, but if you guys notice right here, yes, that says pizza under his lip, guys. And so I'm like, all right, well, we got to make sure we verify so we're not putting out fake news here. And here's somebody scrolling the dude's actual site here. So here's his Cabot Phillips post, whatever. I'm sure you could fake all this stuff, but they basically pull this up here. And he kind of does look a little bit like Charlie too, don't he? I mean, not saying he's very similar, but, skinny guy, dark hair.
I see Tony Romo.
Yeah. I could definitely see that, a young Tony Romo as well. But that is bad, guys. And, right here, FBI documented cheese pizza as code for pornography and pedophile networks. This raises serious questions. And then you have other people talking about, was it Romania, guys, that her charity was in? That was supposed to be one of the central blocks of, like, trafficking,
I believe so. Yeah, her mom introduced her to the family business, I believe.
Yeah, and there's other pictures that are going around essentially saying there's a picture of her, a picture of him and his sister on Ellen, and it is right here. I'll pull it up for you guys so you have it. So this is actually his sister, and here we go. So basically, some people are pushing this around because it looks a little bit like her, and apparently he made a viral video with her when she was coming out of, or the video was pretending to be that she was coming out of anesthesia, and they had a zombie apocalypse, of all things, guys. A zombie apocalypse message came over the radio, and he was basically tricking her into thinking we were really having a zombie apocalypse. So that's interesting that was added into it as well. But I don't know where you go from here, guys. That's bad. I mean, it's all just bad. Super bad.
Are those roses? What are those? Are those flowers on the table? Are those roses? Can you blow it up?
I'm not the best at. I do this, the picture gets smaller. What the heck? I can't. I don't know
if anybody else can tell. Just want to know what flowers they are.
Got any botanists in the chat? Geraniums. Let's see. Anybody in the chat know what those are? I'm looking at the chat really quick. I know Wheezy does a lot of gardening as well. Yeah, but those, in my opinion, they're definitely not roses. I would say they look like they have little tiny, like, little petals on them rather than the big ones. Oh,
and do you guys find it ironic how all these people are like their past lives are actors, models, and you know what I mean? They're all on like they're being interviewed on a news show or something like that. It just happens to be ironic, and it sounds like they're all part of the Operation Mockingbird crew, whatever they call it now.
Yeah, I think that's poignant though. I think they're I don't know if it's an adrenochrome pink
like
flower
Mandami.
Bowser.
He was a rapper and all this stuff. Like he just seems like he'd be like a CIA guy. I don't know, or trained.
Red carnations. Let's see. Yeah, that could be a carnation. Yeah, definitely could be a carnation. Thank you for that there, Hazel Kitty. But yeah, so it all leads to not good, guys. It is where I'm going with this. Like everything with what she posted out there is no bueno. And actually, just really quick for you guys, I know maybe in the chat you won't be able to see this as well, but so you got Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, and actually I can put it up bigger. But did you happen to notice the guys behind them? Who do they look like? And don't look up at the bottom.
Adam Schiff.
Up at the right. Yeah.
Adam Schiff and Obama.
Oh God. Yes. So yeah, so that was Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, but for me that looked like, yeah, that's what I wrote, Obama and Schiff. To me that looks like his skinny ass neck to me. And Obama, man, maybe some other darker guy, but 100% that's Adam Schiff. I don't care what anybody's going to tell me it's not. And I would say, you're talking around the time right before Obama got into office, right?
Given the political theme, You know, it's somebody political. My guess would be Obama, but hey,
I would say so, but it looked like to me. Oh, looks like Don Lemon. Somebody in the chat wrote, or in this comment wrote. But no, I think for sure Obama and Schiff. But who knows?
You know what I noticed? That Epstein and Obama have almost the same bag, and that Schiff looks like it looks like a doctor's bag.
Oh
Yes?
yeah.
So remember the Standard Hotel and what was supposed to have happened there, you know, with the young boy that died, that Anthony Bourdain saw them taking out his dead body, and he was given something, you know, and overdosed, apparently.
Apparently
Yeah.
overdosed.
So they give him what looks like a doctor's bag, you know?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, all right. So, just kind of moving on. I don't think we need to hit the. I mean, I think we're all in agreement. The Charlie Kirk / Erica Kirk situation is needs further investigation. And you know, for those of you who are out there, like I can't stand Candace. Like, if you didn't like her for another reason, okay, before that, fine. But I don't understand why people are giving her a hard time for going after this. And guys, go ahead, Mac. Go ahead.
just even if the person isn't guilty of anything, the Ukraine connection is, and then the collection of data, and then just the connections thereafter Lisa went on. It makes you have to dig into this and say there's much more at play here. And you know, whether or not it's associated with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the odds are probably in the favor of yes. So you know, obviously there's something more here.
Yeah, 100%. There's absolutely a lot more, and I think you know, like I said, guys, before, you know, it's been ever since that situation unfolded. The more I look around, the more it's beating like a drum in my head. Israel is for last. You know, we talked about the Bondi Beach. He even talked about his newest threat where he demands the West do this and that. And like, I'm surprised that the world lets him get away with saying, you guys are backing anti-Semitism when you say you're backing a two-state solution. And I was talking to somebody earlier, and I said, you know what that means, right? The two-state solution. I said that means Israel gets to do their own thing, and the Palestinians do their own thing. And the guy I was telling goes, no, that's not the problem. The problem is that the Palestinians stay alive. That's the problem from Israel's standpoint. I'm like, yeah, you're true, and that's it, right? So we'll see what happens, right? But I think this is a very big highlighting situation for us.
Maybe there's a greater Israel project where they see Israel as much larger piece of land.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, because if you think about things like the the Ben Gurion Canal and all of that, you know, the oil that's on the other side of Gaza and various other different things, then from an economic point of view, you know, if you were to control all that, you would be even richer. And Israel's pretty rich.
Right? It's like, why are we giving these people $1 billion a year or whatever we're giving them? Like, that's why I say, like, I would look around.
It was for their defense. It was for their defense. But yeah, you know, with the Trump coming in and cleaning the house, do we need to keep doing that? Is there going to be a final solution to that? Because it seems like
you do need the intelligence.
Yeah, so we'll find out.
I would say you definitely need, the Israeli intelligence, because they're the best.
And there's been significant oil found off the coast of Israel. I don't know if you just mentioned that or not, but
is it off the coast of Israel? Or is it off the coast of Gaza, the Gaza Strip? I thought it was on the other side of the Gaza Strip, the sea right there, you know, and then the Ben Gurion Canal. The plan is
located in the Mediterranean Sea, about 47 kilometers southwest of Tamar gas field, which began on.
Where is that? Yeah, but
that's what it gave me right now. So let me find out.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, it was they've known that there is fuel, just in the sea right there, on the other side there. And Gaza, the Gaza Strip is right on the coast, isn't it? Have I got that wrong?
I'm very bad with geography.
Well, you've got Israel on the other side. All I know is that Ben Gurion Canal goes through Palestine. Yes, and that would be the kind of rival to the Panama Canal, and they would make a lot of money. And then maybe.
Gaza is that small little
Yeah,
piece
there
at the
you are.
bottom.
But look where Palestine is. It's right there.
There's about 4 different locations that I think they found pretty recently that have like natural gas or oil. So not just Gaza, I don't think.
Here, Shiva. Yeah, all
because
this area about this.
one of them's Haifa at the top is one of them. So there you go.
Interesting. I mean, think about it, right? It's like essentially, we've seen it before, and we showed you guys the map of how it basically, spreads to the point where, Gaza's got this little bit here, this little chunk for themselves, and big Israel can't have them having their own little chunk or their own little land there. That's anti-Semitic, guys, to say that, I believe a 2-state solution, that, they should have their own land and Israel should have their own and Palestine should have their own. Oh my God, you're anti-Semitic. Really? That I think people should, stay alive and, keep to themselves. So yeah, the whole threat, and that's another bit blinking neon light in the background for me when I hear Bibi do that, and then you see something happen in Australia, and then we hear another warning here, which I'm sure we'll get on to. Another one, guys, here with, I'm not going to play the whole thing because he kind of repeats it a few times, and it's like 2.5 minutes. But I did also, Mac, when I was watching this, and I told you I watched this a couple of shows ago here on this show, I was thinking the exact same thing this dude is thinking. So yeah, let's listen to this for a little bit, guys. Fair use, fair use. Can't remember. Unmute the site. Here we go. Bring it back just a second. Here we go.
This is some of the best footage I've seen in a documentary, because what they did, this is insane. This is fundamentally crazy, okay? The documentary starts with Diddy in a hotel room talking to his staff and his lawyers about what to do about this like incoming indictment, right? It's like 5 days before he gets arrested, right? And as I'm watching this, I'm like, that's curious, because this is 50 Cent's documentary about Diddy, yet there's a camera in Diddy's hotel while he talks to his lawyers. He's talking to his lawyers about a strategy on what to do, like a game plan. How did 50 Cent get this footage? Is he in disguise? How is he?
So I was thinking the same thing, because like he says in the very beginning, there's somebody sitting, can't be more than 2 feet away from him. I mean, somebody's got a camera in your face, you notice it. And it didn't appear to be a hidden camera. So he's just literally recording his phone call on the phone with his attorney. And he's telling the attorney, like, this isn't working. We need some more people to come out and back me. And it's making me look bad and this, that, and the other. And I was thinking the same thing to myself, Mac. I'm like, wait, how did he get this stuff, right? And then we learn that, 50 Cent is pretty conniving, right? He made sure the news station that he did his video on, basically promoting this, was on a channel that is broadcast in the jails that Diddy is at. So he made sure that essentially Diddy was going to be able to watch the video showing him promoting this video. So again, the world of the stage. Lisa?
The story goes that Diddy was already planning his comeback. Yeah. Because he actually didn't believe that he was going to get
Do you want to get to the punchline? Because I think that's where he gets of the stand-up, and then you can explain the rest. Because that's the whole funny part.
All right, Lisa, if you want to finish your sentence, then we'll get to that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
because he's kind of repetitive
I
here.
didn't think it was that.
Which, okay, insane to say on camera. A camera I think you know is there. That's wild. I just had this question in my head of like, how did they get this footage? Turns out that Diddy was making a documentary and he had started recording everything because this documentary was going to be about like his comeback, right? So he's like covering everything himself, recording everything himself, so he has his point of view out there, right? So then he was gonna make a documentary. He thought he was gonna beat everything and then make a documentary, release that documentary, and then get everyone on his side again. And now you have to ask yourself, how did 50 come into the possession of Diddy's footage for Diddy's documentary about Diddy? This is crazy because he's making a documentary himself, but then he took that documentary. Apparently what happened was that Diddy did go to jail and then he couldn't pay the cameraman. So then... So then 50 was like, I'll pay the cameraman. This is some of...
Oh my God. Oh, that is so bad. Like, dude, you couldn't pay him because you were in jail or you couldn't get access to funds. But again, and all this too is like big neon lights highlighting what these people in the entertainment industry do, which is no bueno. No bueno. Oh yeah, there's that. How did he get the footage? Well, yeah, and so Mac, yeah, I listened to about a first half of it because he kept repeating that, and I never got to the end, to be honest with you. But that is amazing. What is this? What does he have? Friggin'?
It was a long setup, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, he must have had this dude's stuff tapped. Like how does he know everything? It seems about P. Diddy and all this stuff. And I don't know if you
the camera people probably were PO'd that they didn't get paid.
Yeah, probably
and they just
loud about it.
They're like, who do we go to? 50's doing a lot of trolling of Diddy.
And Lisa, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's other videos of 50 Cent talking about like, you know, I used to meet, you know, with P. Diddy, and he would say, hey, come on, let's go to the mall and I'll buy you some stuff. He's like, what? You're going to buy me some stuff? I'm a dude. Like, what the hell? So, you know, he's saying basically he was trying to get romance. He was trying to romance 50 Cent, essentially, which we know through P. Diddy's own security guards, right? When he was trying to go, they were at some sex store, and he picked up a butt plug, and the security guy's like, oh, what are you getting a butt plug for? And he's like, can I just buy my stuff on my own or whatever? And he said, I guess he went to the guy at the front with a bunch of stuff in a bag and just handed the dude like 10 grand cash, and they never like checked everything in the register. He basically just, all right, have a good one. So
yeah, we know that he liked to own people. Yes. So instead of, you know, giving them, like, from what I can gather, from what I've seen, is that, you know, even if he was giving somebody a deal, he would make sure that he or his company benefits more. So remember, before he went in prison, he did this big thing about, oh, I'm giving people back their copyright, and that's because he stole their copyright in the first place. Any artist that they were working with didn't really own their stuff. He did. Yes. So, and then, you know, the girls and all of that, they weren't given the money, they were given things, let's say. Or it's like, yeah, go out and buy this, but not really fully sharing the love, you know? For a very rich guy, I would think. It was more about control and controlling people, I would say. You know? And then again, you know, we're still focused on P. Diddy, and we've forgotten about all of the people around him. You know, there's one guy whose name I just keep seeing all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, are you executive producing Landman? And is it the possibly the mayor of Kingstown. But anyway, there was somebody that Diddy used to celebrate his birthday at this guy's house because they had the same birthday on the same day. And that's where Diddy had some of his parties. And we never mention him, you know? There's just a lot of things that are just being breezed over, if you ask me, you know? And they've been kind of snuffed out. And obviously the fake media won't cover it, yeah? And they're powerful people. Very powerful people. Very, very wealthy people as well, you know?
Big time.
Rhymes with Merkel.
Merkel. I got a couple of good. Well, Mac, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, but go ahead, buddy.
No, I'm good.
Good. Okay. Change it to a little bit of call this health or things around us, energy, I guess we can call it. Trump administration pausing all offshore wind project construction due to national security concerns. He says the move was made after classified reports concluded potential national security risks. All right, so let's bottle this one up, guys, with the next story I'm going to show you, because I think both of them are pretty good, though. So, oh, God, seeing this dude anywhere, it just enrages me. But yeah, he's pausing all the offshore wind projects due to, quote, national security, which seems to work as an excuse whenever he wants to make sure something gets stopped. And then Patty Greer actually let me know about this one. Basically, they are shutting this down, guys. I don't know. We see people talk about chemtrails and stuff and whatnot, but the Trump administration moves to dismantle NCAR, National Climate Research Lab in Colorado. NCAR, moving to dissolve a research lab that a top White House official described as, quote, one of the largest sources of climate alarmism in the country. White House Budget Director Russ Vought criticized the lab in social media post Tuesday night and said a comprehensive review of the lab is underway. Vital activities such as weather research will be moved into another entity or location. So we get a lot of people saying that this is essentially where the chemtrails comes from. It's one of the key areas as well. So a couple of those energies. I don't know if Mac or Lisa wanted to add anything to either of those two, but I thought that was interesting.
There's even more. I think Trump's True Social company just bought TAE, which is a cold fusion company, or they merged. I can't remember. But that's cold fusion energy is apparently going to be the next step for energy. And it's going to be really exciting because you don't need a ton of water for it. And yeah. I don't know. Lisa, you got anything on that or any of this?
Yeah, what about the murdered MIT scientist? He was poised to upend fossil fuel industry before his assassination linked to Brown University shooter.
That one for you.
You know? and then the other thing was, remember maybe about a month or so ago, where Bill Gates admitted that he got it completely wrong on climate change. Yeah?
You mean us
completely wrong.
Crazy folks were wrong? Us crazy folks were right the whole time?
Yeah, and then you know that company that you just mentioned, you know, I potentially, and I haven't looked into it, but you know, there are these large organizations that get government funding that are the climate alarmists. So they come up with the fake research that forms the basis for people to do things like spray crap into the air, you know, like silver and different things that are maybe giving people asthma, you know, or breathing problems. Like in the UK, they've just okayed a lot of money to be paid to this okay that is going to spray stuff into the air, and the politicians kind of okay it, and then the next thing they're going, oh well, there is no research to show, you know, there's no safety research been done. It's like, well, why did you okay it then? You know, like ridiculous. So Anyway, it's beyond me. I'm telling you. Right, so it affects every single person in the country, and you haven't done any safety research on it.
Yep,
and they're spraying stuff into the air. So anybody with respiratory problems, because respiratory problems, all you need is little particles, right?
Yep, tiny particles, very tiny particles.
Yeah, is that why the pharmaceutical companies are going to be giving away or stockpiling, giving a free stock to people that have inhalers and stuff like that? I wonder. Wasn't there an announcement just recently? Sorry, I just don't trust any of these people. Hello? You still there, Space Shop?
I'm sorry, I'm muted on my end. I was even saying, "Hey, Mac, are you back in? Did you get back in okay?" Because he got back out. He went out of the room and came back in. Wanted to make sure
I'm here.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Lisa, I don't trust any of these things too, and it's clear that they don't have our best interest in mind on pretty much everything. That's pretty clear. So let me see.
Do you think they're trying to atone by agreeing to reduce the price of certain medicines and all of that? Because it sounds like it to me. Not that they can make up for what they've done, but they're making little moves to try and improve their profile. I think.
I think Trump's probably putting them over the coals. And he's making deals like that. And they definitely are responsible. We all know that. So he's using them, and then I think at the end they'll face the consequences, whatever that may be.
Coming, baby, it's coming. Lisa, you're clicky. You're very clicky at the moment. Just a short update from SecDef Duffy. Your USDOT wrapped is here. America's building again. 2025 to 6. FAA had replaced 1/3 of all copper wires and 44 tower surface awareness systems and installed 148 new radio systems across the country. Freedom means affordable cars. DOT eliminated the Biden-Buttigieg EV mandate, saving families $1,000 on the average cost of a new vehicle and saving Americans $109 billion over the next 5 years. Making roads safe again. This is key right here, guys. Kicked out 11,500 commercial. I can't believe it was this many. 11,500 commercial drivers who couldn't speak English were driving on the American roads, ladies and gentlemen, and are no longer. 3,000, which contributed, I'm sure, these 3,000 CDL schools, they knocked those off the books, which I'm sure contributed to a lot of these non-speaking drivers. And the DOT got 49 states to comply with our language rules. Wonder what state didn't. California much is my guess, but who knows. But yeah, some good progress there as well, guys. So gotta love that, and safer roads right here, guys. 11,500 people driving around essentially houses on wheels, right? Like you're talking, bare minimum on a load or a full load is 40,000 pounds, and then you can add the tractor and the trailer to that thing. You're talking basically a moving bomb. 11,500 people are no longer able to do that, which is, in my opinion, really good. The chemtrails. I know you got a couple of things over there too, Mac, that you wanted to hit, but I don't know if you wanted. I'm just gonna do a little bit of this funny because I don't want to get too banged up on this video, which I probably am. But it's not racist if it's not racist if you let Eddie Murphy do it. Oh god, here we go. Ready? Not racist if you let Eddie Murphy do it, right?
waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne jawaabteeda waxay ahayd dowladda Mareykanka.
We always have to have a little bit of funny, guys. If we can't have funny in this world, then what are we doing here, What are we really even doing here? So Mac, Lisa, anything that we want to make sure we touch on, we don't cover, because we got about a good 15 minutes here left. I got to do one more run to the store for one more thing my boy needs to get for Christmas. But that he's buying his own stuff, guys. Isn't that great? I don't have to give him any money to buy him his own gifts this year. He's working. Just turned 15, the boy. Oh, and guys, I'll pull this one up because I know we wanted to definitely cover this one. And this actually hits a little close to home because essentially we got let's just say we got a warning that, oh my God, there's a bunch of there's police all over your son's school, and worried about a possible attack. And so there was a rumor going, and this is 100% rumor, guys, and I've looked for this and I cannot verify this anywhere. So just keeping this in the back of your head. This is the rumor that us local folk here in Rhode Island were hearing around this area. So out of the 9 people that were killed, this part is fact. The one girl was like the young Republican president or something for some organization, the young Republican president or whatever. The rumor that was going around here was that the whole shooting centered around her, and she was actually shot like 8 or 9 times, and the last one, and this is a direct quote, the last one was in the face. She got shot 8 or 9 times, the last one was in the face, and I'm quoting the rumor, all of these other people were shot in like the arm or the leg, non-life threatening. So they were basically saying it was going after a Republican attack. And then I fast forward to hear that there's police officers in my son's school, and it was centered around my son because he was on Fox News, him and his friend there, blah, 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 blah. Talked to the police officers myself, called the office, and they said essentially, nope, there is no threat. I can't comment on, I don't know. Actually, the local police here said he has no information on how many times, anybody was shot there, but they are just having officers at every school in our town out of an abundance of caution, period. There was no threats, and there is no threat that they are aware of. But just kind of giving you guys a little insight into what we were told around here. And they were kind of, again, trying to scare folks, I think. So I don't know if that is going to end up to be true or not about, that girl being shot more than the others. We will see. But let me play this video for you, and then more ridiculousness, in my opinion. But here we go.
A lot. First of all, apparently a janitor named Derek, who worked as a janitor at Brown University, had previously, that is before the shooting, according to him, alerted the Brown University police that there was an intruder that had been lurking around the building, but yet nothing was done. We also learned that there were a number of electronic devices discovered in the storage unit that he had, and a number of other things, perhaps thumb drives that he had, all of which point to the idea that this was some elaborate plot. He did a lot of casing, a lot of pre-planning, a lot of recon, but in retrospect, none of it seems to make sense. And I just hope that the authorities come out soon with some sort of a backgrounder so that we can all try to understand this thing. A lot.
So what he's saying essentially is that they were warned by the I think it's a homeless man or the janitor or whatever it was, that this guy was essentially walking around the building over and over, and walked up behind the person who was going to their car, who had unlocked the car with their key fob as they were about to open the door. And I guess the shooter looked over their shoulder and seen the guy and said, and the guy said, oh, he kept walking away. So he started walking away. And the guy said to him, like, hey, your car's right there. Why are you walking away from your car? And the guy's like, hey, I don't know you. Leave me alone. Stop harassing me or something. So they're saying that they were basically warned that there's somebody, mulling around the area or whatever. And then when the questionable information for me came up is like, all right, they got him here. And just so everybody knows, from here to like Boston, on a good day, like very, very low traffic, you might be able to make it there in an hour if you had very, very low traffic. And then up here in New Hampshire, you're talking like 3 hours. And then just so everybody's aware, 40 minutes side to side and about 45 minutes north to south in Rhode Island. But we were told that this guy was found in the storage container in New Hampshire, but then he had been dead a while. And so I don't know, MaQaveli, have you heard anything about, what that while ended up being? The only thing I had heard is that he was already dead. And so I was trying to do some, trying to figure out, like, was it plausible that he killed the person here and then up there, and then had time to go into the locker and then shoot himself and then, quote, be dead for a while, while they found him. So I don't know if you guys have seen any more investigative work on that, but the timeline does fit. It says basically he could have done it if he was only dead for, not very long, but I don't know what that he had already been dead for, quote, some time means, So it's all coming out, but coming out very slowly. So Lisa, we'll go with you first. I don't know if you have anything on this at all. If you want to change the subject, what do you want to do?
The only thing that I know about it, or I think I know about, is like the cameras at Brown University. So they had cameras, they have a good camera system, but they decided to turn it off because they didn't want to kind of be collecting sensitive information about the students.
Yeah, I had also heard another.
Go on.
Well, and this is just from the mayor, and again, like you're saying, even if it's coming out of the mayor's mouth, I wouldn't trust it 100%. But he said that his kids went to school and graduated, one in 21 and one in 23. And he is saying that, the reason there's no cameras there is because it's a very old building. And when they additioned or added on to the building, they basically just added on around it, and they didn't update the inside of that. But then I'm also hearing other things that there actually were cameras, but they were shut off. So I don't know what to believe.
Mine was I heard that they shut them off because they didn't want to be collecting sensitive information on the students,
Ice.
So given that there's been so many, I don't know about that's they didn't include ice in that, but they did, but you're saying it, it's like it makes sense. But they said they didn't want to collect sensitive information. So loads of school shootings, a lot of people getting killed, and you turn the cameras off. Okay,
like all the time, right? It's like, we shut the cameras off. Like, why? Yeah, so I'd heard the reason it was an old building. I heard they shut it off because they didn't want to give any authorities like an upper hand to look at the cameras to find any immigrants. Like, there's been a plethora of BS stories out there. So we'll see, and it's coming out too slow, for my opinion.
And then was the shooter, wasn't he connected with Brown anyway? And the former student. And then he got his visa through the visa lottery or something. Yeah. So they've just shut down the whole program or put a hold on it, because maybe they're not doing enough. They say they're looking into people's social media and all of that kind of thing. Maybe it wasn't done because it was the lottery.
True, and there were reports that this guy had went to school with I want to say it's the MIT professor, and so there's so many different stories that came out. Yeah, right. It's like it's wild. So this one is saying here, Brown University shooting suspect died 2 days before bodies discovered, the autopsy shows. And then can they tell you down to like the hour? I mean, I'm sure there's a window, but I don't know that they can tell you the difference between somebody being dead for 19 hours versus, say, 21 hours. Maybe they can. I don't know. I'm not sure of that, but please.
I think 2 days you should be able to, there's certain decay or whatever that would happen in 2 days as opposed to hours, that should be an indication of how long the body has been there. I would think so, But what I'm more interested in is the MIT professor and what he was working on, and it would have upended
fusion.
the fossil fuel industry. Yes?
Great. I mean,
which is worth a lot of money to a lot of people. Yeah, but we just talked about that earlier. But.
Did I have I think I had a link. But yeah,
the same reason the people who were working with, what's it called, Mike? 0 point gravity or something? The same way a lot of those people disappeared, because that would have meant the fuel industry going awry and a lot of money being lost. I've got a video somewhere of I don't know how many people it is, but there's a lot of them that have died in interesting circumstances. You know,
Wow, yeah,
and they're all dead.
And not only was he working on plasma science, but he was the director of their Plasma Science and Fusion Center. Died at 47. Helped illuminate the physics occurring at the center of fusion, vacuum chambers, and at the edges of the universe. I got a really cool one too, MaQaveli. This was actually something I sent to Hulk that we showed on the Saturday show, but just wanted to show you guys. I thought you might find it interesting, and anybody in the chat would probably find this interesting as well. Just new technology. Oh God, stop it with that. I hate it. So basically, they developed a revolutionary metal polymer conductor combining elastic polymers with liquid metals like gallium, indium. They created circuits that can stretch, bend, and twist while carrying electricity reliably, since something rigid metal wiring simply can't do. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have to come into some new realms as far as, actually, I think a lot of different genres, but you know, technology for sure. And like we were discussing earlier, Lisa, about the financial system. I was thinking under President Trump, under the first administration, that was his plan. Like he was going to basically try to destroy this, you know, fractional reserve system that we've been dealing with since 1913 or something like that. So I don't discount that they may try to implode the system, because we definitely need a new one that is not based on, you know, what we've been dealing with, which is complete just fraud on top of fraud on top of fraud. So some changes definitely need to be made.
Or you do a bit of game theory where you control the environment so that there's only certain moves that they can make. Because now I'm thinking, what about the long play with Russia? Yes? So knowing full well that they've been sanctioning Russia for decades, yeah, more and more sanctions. So it would be obvious that they would hold that money, and most people know that they are short on resources, which is money and arms, yes, and soldiers, to be honest. So do you see what I mean? So if you're clued in with all of that, then you could kind of see that with a little, well, even without engineering, that's where they were headed. I'm only thinking back now. I had no idea about this before, but putting it all, joining the dots, you know, it looks like potentially there's a bit of game theory there. So you're saying about the Trump administration and destroying the fractional reserve system, you know, and there they go. They've just destroyed the whole of Europe, Switzerland, everything. Yes? The confidence, the trust that people have. And if they don't have that trust, let me tell you, they've got nothing. And they don't have the control that they used to have. Because why would you get a whole heap of money and store it somewhere in Europe when they can do that kind of thing and do it like overnight? And even when they've got people like Hungary and maybe there's some other countries, you know, involved in it, you know, and Belgium, like no one's going to go near Belgium. Yeah. So they've totally destroyed it. But I'm just wondering whether, you know, that was a bit of game theory played there, because, you know, they've been shouting, you know, they created the war with Russia themselves. You know, Russia were provoked into doing what they did through NATO, which is the all of these unified countries, you know, and it's a NATO proxy war as well. So it feels like America's kind of stuck in the middle, because America's part of NATO, and then you had Joe Biden, you know, giving all of that money to the Ukraine. So obviously something's going to go on, you know what I mean? Or something's going to continue in the war. Then you've got the whole of Europe and Britain, you know, rattling the saber, saying that Russia's going to invade them. Russia just put out that they're willing to put it in a legal document that they will not invade Europe. If they wanted to invade Europe, they would have already done it. Yeah, they're right there on the doorstep. And everybody, Germany, France, England, Russia, they're going to invade us. Oh, come to our aid, NATO, so that we can get into this war above board instead of covertly. And then you get what's happened with the financial system that I described earlier. Interesting, right? Very interesting. I find it interesting anyway. I just wonder whether there's a bit of game theory that's been played there, or is it don't interrupt the enemy in the midst of it destroying itself, like the art of war? But anyway, there's something there.
I think a little of both. I think a little of both. What do you think, Mac?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, hasn't been in a war in a while, so they probably do have munitions they need to, so quote unquote, get rid of. I mean, they could have destroyed Ukraine. They protected a lot of the citizens. They told them where they were going, what they were going to do, and the fake news has kind of hidden that from everything. So, it's who can scream the loudest to try to get money in order for Ukraine to still fight in the war, which is the cabal. It would all seem like, but there's innocent lives that are at stake. People are fighting that war, so peace is the resolution. I think Rubio stated that, it's going to have to involve some concessions and some wins. So they have to give some stuff and they have to take some stuff, both sides.
Yeah, and by the way, I just did a bit of reading up on the relationship between Israel and the Ukraine, and they first really started good relations in 1949. When was Israel created? 1947?
Eight or seven.
47, 8? The Balfour Treaty. Right, and then in 1949, you had Israel and Ukraine relations because they'd both suffered. Yes? But no mention of the Holocaust created by the Ukraine. Does anybody remember all those starving people?
Oh, yes.
Anyway.
There was an absolutely bad one there, for sure.
There was something that kind of, I think, fell through the cracks today. It was pretty big news. The acting CISA director got caught lying on a lie detector. Now the whole department's under investigation. And CISA monitors the elections.
Yes, and don't we remember from the Q post that there was a couple of people that had to resign from CISA. So I remember, everybody being bolstered by, CISA's going to look after the elections. But if you look at the Q post, it points you in the direction to show that perhaps they're not what you think they are.
Space shot bottom of the chat.
Sorry?
He was telling me to look at the bottom of the chat. And just really quick update from the chat. I didn't know, and I like to know this stuff too, not call anybody out, but Colloidal Christina said hello from across the pond, and I thought maybe she was saying hello to you, Lisa, but Colloidal Christina is a country member of you, so she's from the UK as well, along with
hi Christina,
Mr. 2012 there. As well, and want to thank Tinman1295 for the $5 Rumble rant. Says thanks for the great show, guys. So thank you for that, brother. And this is a good one too. Cyrus the Great 87 dropped a $2 Rumble rant, and I'm gonna have to agree with this one where it says, I think Trump and Putin have agreed to keep the war going as a means of collapsing Europe and helping us leave NATO, which would collapse NATO, not just denazifying Ukraine. That's very, very
exactly
possible.
That's a good point.
What the hell has NATO done for us?
This is what I'm saying about game theory. NATO's cost you a lot of money.
Exactly.
Over many, many years. And at the same time, the fact that they are now contributing, is it 5%? But contributing more to their own defense. Yes? So isn't that putting them on a better footing to defend themselves? And Europe are talking about putting together a European army right? So wouldn't that be a rival to NATO in the first place?
Yeah, they're all screaming, "Get ready for war!" in the European Union nations. So
Yeah, because they're trying to they're trying to kind of push that narrative of Russia invading them, and Russia has
yeah,
just
so they
trumped
get
them
more
by saying
money.
we'll put it in a legal form that we're not going to invade Europe, you know. So they've been countered, they've been cut off at the pass. Finally, after 3 years.
And here is another snippet of my favorite post, or one half of my favorite post. Again, this is 2020, guys, before he left office, right? Before the pause. So again, I would ask you guys out there that have any questions about Q, what did they mean? It had to be this way. Sometimes you must walk through the darkness before you see the light. And everything prior to this, we were crushing it. We had, the lion's share of social media were basically in our pockets, essentially. All of us were killing it out there. And I think maybe we're doing too good of a job. But essentially, at the end of the day, it turns into this one right here. Sometimes, and please explain it to me if anybody's got a good, counter to it. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. You must show them. Only then will the people find the will to change. It had to be this way. This is not another 4-year election. God wins. I mean, how many more ways can they tell us that, we're going to have a pause here without telling us that we're going to have a pause here? Right? Last 2 years, next 4 years, whatever.
Yeah, and also, are you talking about Q Post 4951? Yes, I think it is, but basically there are 2 links there, and they are links to CISA, and in between the links it says who stepped down today in kill brackets. Do you call it? It says forced, and then it ends with a question mark, and I believe that was. I think that was 2 people from CISA. Yes, if I remember rightly.
Brian Ware fired.
So something was going on back then in 2020, possibly.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that there is a correlation with somebody stepping down. And then the other one, it says www.cisagov/Brian-S-where. S-where, is that spyware?
No, he's actually.
Is it? Or is it just software? What is it?
Yeah, he's Brian Ware, the Assistant Director of the Cybersecurity Division at CISA, unexpectedly resigned today. And now Reuters is reporting that Chris Krebs, the Director of CISA, expects to be fired by the White House today as part of a purge of political appointees who are considered not loyal to President Trump. I mean, the president will start to get that weird feeling that you're not loyal to him when you're allowing straight up fraud to occur and then telling everybody, no, there's nothing wrong, nothing happened. So yeah, that's this.
And aren't CISA, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't they responsible for looking after the security of state elections?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Federal
so
elections,
every state. Well, yeah, okay.
Pretty much.
I'm sure it's state too. It's whatever the federal government oversees. So I'm assuming they make sure all elections go run smoothly, and then the FBI enforces any misdoings.
Yeah. So NSWIC, remember, nothing can stop what is coming, right? NSWIC supports statewide interoperability coordinators, or SWIC, from the 56 states and territories by developing products, blah, 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 leveraging their relationship. So, yeah, absolutely.
So in other words, they did really leverage their relationships, given the fraud that took place, because in effect, they allowed it because they were supposed to be safeguarding it. Yeah.
True. All right, guys, we're going to have to call it a wrap there. But if there's anything pertinent, you can.
Matt, what about the interview with the guy who was talking about UFOs and all of that?
There was a video of a guy talking about, this isn't it, Lisa, but how social media influencers get paid through the CIA. That came out. There's a guy that you really like, and then the other one's like an interview that was given on a show called Redacted, and I would go take a look at it. It's a guy that's in congressional testimony. It's his first time giving a testimony. Is pretty mind blowing. The guy's name, Clayton Morris, is the guy that does the show, and I forget the guy's name. That he's a U.S. Army air trooper, and he disclosed some pretty wild stuff in his interview. It's a two-parter. They would bring a grain of salt, but it's being heard and considered as true. So it's credible.
Yeah, no, they did good work over there on that dude's channel, Clayton, and the girl that he's with, Redacted.
It's mind blowing, connects a lot of dots, and it just shows hidden stuff that we had no idea was going on, and it's probably been going on for some time.
I just put something in the bottom of the channel, and there's a video that goes with it. Just have a quick look at it. You might want to play it.
This one
as we're going out.
The Andrew. He loved it. I'll tell you what, Lisa, I liked it, but I just wish it was more. I just wish it was more definite. Bottom G, Andrew Tate suffers gruesome eye injury as he's beaten by Chase Damore in controversial Misfits boxing debut. Oh my god. You know what this reminds me of too? And this is so disgusting, guys. I don't know if you've seen this, but some homeless man, I think in I don't know if it was Washington or whatever, hit some 70-year-old lady in the head with like a 2x4, and the 2x4 had a friggin' nail in it, and the nail went right into her friggin' eye. And then just walked off like it was nothing.
From a film.
Oh yeah, it was just bad. Yeah, so I seen after the video, he basically he didn't get knocked down in the fights at all for any punches. He did go down from exhaustion and stuff like that. But I did notice after the fight, the corner of his eye was bleeding. It was pretty gross. But as we're gonna show it, I might as well. I'm gonna have to do it, guys, because it was just such a good ball getting. You guys saw that?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'd say he broke his jaw.
To say about that in two places. So
real?
he'll be sipping soup. He'll be sipping soup. Yeah.
Oh god.
Well, if the X-rays were real, his jaw was broken.
There's another one that's even,
and you can see, you can literally see it, the actual punch that did it. You can see that his eyes are on one side and his chin's on the other. It's pretty gruesome.
And so this is a good one too, and we'll call it a day after this one, guys. But I was just waiting I was wanting to see this dude get knocked out, and you can see as soon as he catches it and he lands, he looks over at somebody. He's like, "Yep, that was the one." He's like, "That was it." Let's see here, and he does a good thing where he hits low and then he goes high. So he distracts him with the low and smashes him up top with the high. Ready? Push him in the corner here. High swing, low swing. Get your hands down and watch this crush his face. Ugh. They'll show it again here. He's like,
yeah, but the thing is, for me, I go, Anthony Joshua is inches taller, and he's is it 15 kilograms or something heavier, right? And he's a heavyweight fighter, and it's so. How
Jake Paul shouldn't even be fighting boxing. He shouldn't be a boxer. He's just a celebrity, and he just asks people to fight him. So he deserves every little bit of this.
Well, he got paid. He got paid well for it.
Yes.
So they say
$72 million.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if you've heard, the ref in the earlier. I think it was 2 rounds before the 6th. So in the 4th round, he told them both off. He said, "Listen, this is not boxing. You
Yeah, it was
need to
not.
fight, and you need to fight within the rules. In other words, fight, guys. So Jake Paul was busy grabbing his ankles and things, and his knees and his body, and
Running.
and holding on to him. So I think that potentially Anthony Joshua, because the ref was talking to them both. He's a heavyweight fighter. He probably should have been able to take him out like first 2 rounds. Yeah.
Well, true.
Given
but
the difference in experience, but you got to put on a good fight, and you were getting paid. But if the ref has to tell both boxers off, I've never seen that before. Yeah, never seen that before. And I love boxing. I watched boxing like all my life. And I've never seen it before. But the ref having to say that.
It was the whole thing he was running. But here's the thing, guys. I would let you break 3 or 4, 2 or 3 fingers on each hand, an arm, a leg, and my jaw in a few places for $70 million. So I don't care how sore this dude is. All he's got to do is pop open his banking app and go, oh, once I'm healed up, I get to go out and spend 70. I heard it was as much as 92 million, Mac. I heard it was 184 million split.
No, you were probably right. Sorry.
But who knows? I mean, at that point, does it really matter? It's like, I got 70 million in the bank. I got 90 million in the bank. Potato. So guys, out there, we hope you guys have a very wonderful Merry Christmas. Remember, we're allowed to say that, and we've always said it, and we've continued to, and will continue to say so.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
See that? He gets in there, boom. He just Merry Christmas it right up. Let me just thank a few folks over here on my channel. Thank you to Crodeck, Saint Cosmic Dildo, and Susie Q, the top 3 contributors. I'm dropping 50 diamonds into the bucket over here on D Live, and I am hitting the rewards button, and they're coming at you in. No, here we go, 27 and counting. Heading over to thefoxhole.app. If anybody you guys are watching and you're not over there on the Foxhole, definitely give them some love. They made this platform for us when there was nowhere else to go to after they kicked us all off of YouTube. So definitely show them some love, guys. Enrique Alvarado gets paid over 90 million, gets knocked out. Yeah, absolutely. And Meek Easy says, wait, is this a new time for you, Space Shot, or have I been missing you? Yeah, we changed this, I don't even know when, guys. What, 4 months ago, 5 months ago? But we went from Wednesday to Monday a few months ago. We'll just leave it at that. And so thank you to, it looks like we had a cookie fight over here. We have Tweety52. Thank you for the cookie. And then thank you, Sean Joe, for 1, 2, 3 cookies in a row. And then Lori P for the shades. And I am releasing the scratch-ins now. And they are released, and they will be coming at you shortly. Okay, ladies first. Miss Lisa, your parting words on the way out the door before our Merry Christmas. And we should be back. New Year's Eve is on Tuesday. And so we'll be back here on Monday, next Monday, guys, on the 29th for episode 189. But Lisa, your final thoughts on the way out the door?
Yeah, don't often say it, but the EU and Britain, like architects of their own suicide financially. That's interesting. And it'd be nice to great support from the Brits out there, Christina and everybody else.
Greg 3012.
It's good to have you on board, and yes, absolutely. We need a few more people to get their heads out of their butts, don't we? I think you might agree with me there. If you're over here in the UK, it's like, oh my god, But have a great time over Christmas, and make sure it's a really good one, because I've got a feeling that 2026 is just going to be a rip-roaring, I don't know, I just feel like 2026 is going to be a pretty amazing year, given the things that are rolling out at the moment. There's going to be a hell of a lot happening, and I think some big changes are afoot, and I can't wait till 2026. And when everybody was saying, 2021, 2020, and things are going to happen then, I was going, no, 25, 26, So let's see what happens. Can't wait for the new year. And it's going to go probably even faster than this year. because I can still remember like January, February. You know, I feel like I've missed the whole year. It's just gone so fast. You know. But anyway, I'll leave it there. And yeah, please give us a thumbs up, which is free.
Yes.
And thank you for everybody that does that as well. And thanks for all your support all year. Really do appreciate it. But I usually let Mac say that every single week, which he does very well.
And we got 343 thumbs up to 0 down. So I appreciate that one. And South VA says, tell your son Metu Christmas. All right, I'll say it. Am I going to get an eye roll? Because remember, Dad's not cool anymore. You know, he doesn't know what cool is anymore. But I'm going to copy that, and I will tell him. I'll let you know. Remind me next show if I don't come out, but I will definitely tell him. But Mac, your final thoughts, brother?
Yeah, great show, everyone. A couple things we didn't get to. Dan Bongino stepping down in January.
Oh, yeah.
Our NGOs, I think they're getting cut out their funding for the most part. So that's great news. I forget who announced that. I'd have to pull that up. But let's see. One other thing was, 29 ambassadors that were appointed under the Biden administration are heading back to the United States. And I think that's because, was it 79 people were passed in Congress recently? All the Trump appointees, they were passed and they're now going to be appointed. No, just like a couple nights ago or something. Everyone, all the people there holding, yeah.
Nice.
I think. But I could be wrong. I saw that and I could have sworn it happened yesterday. But yeah, that's about it. Great show. Oh, and the last one was a 764 pedophile ring. Oh. They pled guilty to the FBI, so they're now in trouble. And I think they're a terrorist group too. So.
Oh.
All right, great show, guys. Not a terrorist group, extremist is what they're considered.
Extremist group. And just a heads up, I'm not bagging on this guy, but this is one of the J6er guys, and in my opinion, this makes this job that we're trying to do, bring you guys current news, more difficult. Breaking, everything's breaking, and everything this guy's showing is breaking, but it's everything he's showing is 2 or 3 years old. So just be wary about that stuff, guys. A lot of people putting out stuff as breaking. Okay, so my son I texted my son. He said, Christmas from Metu, Ethiopia, which has extensive practices in Orthodox Christianity. That sounds like he Googled that, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you my son thought about themselves. Sound like he Googled it, but that was your answer there. So thank you again to the mods out there. Really appreciate your help, and we will see you before the end of the year. We'll see you on next Monday here. And Table of Titans, guys, I think tentatively we have it set for 9:30 on Thursday, on Friday, as it normally is on every Thursday, and that is Christmas. So if it's any time other than 9:30, we will blast them out, and we'll blast out the posts ahead of time and let you guys know as well. So I want to thank the mods again. You guys rock, helping myself and many others out there along the way. Mac and Lisa, great years this year, and the last few years we've been doing the show. A lot of great shows here, so I really appreciate you too as well. And of course, at the end of every show, and we certainly do mean this, that we do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right. It's brackets and jackets. Bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks. Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is Brackets and Jackets for the denizens